Manny Machado.
To the Padres. 10-year. What was it? 10-year.
300 million.
300 million.
Yep. So
huge contract.
Listen, let me just say this before. People said all these things about Machado. Well, Machado said, "Oh, I'm not that type of player that hustles and all that." People took it a really negative, and people don't like him for that. But do you think he's a dirty player? Be honest.
Do I think he's a dirty player?
Yeah, for his slides and stuff in the World Series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's dirty. He's a dirty player, but that's what I love about him. He moves on his own. Like he's not worried about what other people think about him. He's more or less worried about, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make my team win, even if that means being a little dirty, taking out a player. If you take out one of their 9 starters, then you have a better chance of winning. It's just as simple as that. And
so
he's a dirty player.
He got a $300 million contract worth 10 years. He chose money over legacy. So, the Padres are not a bad team.
They're not a bad team.
They're not a bad team, but
they're not going to be making a push anytime soon. I mean.
Yeah, so, that's why people are, like, saying Machado could have went to teams like, the Yankees. If Machado went to the Yankees, oh man, I wish he went. But I wouldn't pay Machado that much money.
I mean, it would have been a perfect fit because Machado is the villain, and the Yankees are the villain of the villain franchise. Yeah. If the villain joins a villain franchise, everyone would hate them except for New York fans. I mean, they're already the most There was a poll done where they're already the most hated team in all of America.
Yep.
If you throw one of the most hated players in all of America on the most hated team in America, stuff will happen.
Yep. Yeah,
they would be stacked. I mean. Of course, there would be some moving of positions and stuff. Players would be bumped around because we have Didi Gregorius, which I've been saying for a while. I think we should have traded him for a starting pitcher when we needed one. Right now we're okay, but
no. On the Yankees' perspective, I think getting Manny Machado, I would not pay Manny Machado that much money a year.
Obviously, not.
I would not pay him that.
That's why they backed out because
exactly.
These smaller teams that desperately need attention. They desperately need attention. They desperately need fans. Yankee Stadium is never going to have problems selling out. They're never going to have problems selling tickets.
Yep.
Let's be honest. They're one of the best. They are the best baseball franchise of all time. They have no problem selling tickets.
27 rings,
but a team like the Padres, they haven't been as good lately. And, it's just been hard to get them. You would throw in a big box office name like Machado. That $330 million that they paid him, it's going to work itself back.
Okay.
Unlike with the Yankees, where, they're already making that. So it's not like bringing
him
in is going to do too much.
Do you think the Padres, like you said before, the Padres aren't making no playoff push this year, right?
I don't think they're making a play. They're not going to be making a playoff push this year.
No, I say the same thing.
They did bring up Fernando Tatino.
Tatis, their best prospect,
Yeah, they brought him up early.
We'll see what happens though. We'll see if Machado.
They might be a team to watch for in the future.
Yeah, for sure in the future. But we'll see if
I don't know how Machado's gonna like it though, because Machado has been firm on playing shortstop, and they told him that he's playing third just because they're moving him to third. They don't really care what he says.
Okay. Yeah.
He's been firm on. I'm a shortstop. I'm playing shortstop. Yep. And the Padres are like, well, we're paying you $330 million. You're gonna do what we say.
Yep. So the next big move we need to talk about, Bryce Harper to the Phillies on what was the contract again? 10 years, $320 million, something like that, right?
It was 11 years. I think it was 11 years.
Okay.
It was just a year longer, and I think it was a little bit more money, but it all evens out. It's about the same contract.
Yeah, exactly.
It's close to the same contract.
So let me give my opinion on this. I think this was a good signing for the Phillies. I actually think this signing, not only the Bryce Harper sign, they got JT Realmuto, they got other free agent signings.
They brought in McCutchen too.
Yep, they got McCutchen. It's veteran presence.
Presence around the team.
I think this move makes Phillies the favorites in the National League. What about you?
No.
Who do you think? Who do you think's gonna overcome them in the National League?
The National League?
Yeah.
There are plenty of other good teams in the National League. The Dodgers, even though they're choke artists, they always seem to find a way to get into the World Series just to choke.
The Brewers are a team to watch out for.
The Brewers are a big team to watch out for now. I don't see them making a push because, honestly, I'm not too high on Bryce Harper. He's a very inconsistent player.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely
He's super inconsistent. And one of my big hot takes for the MLB this year is I think the Nationals will have a better record without him this year.
Ooh.
I think that they will do better.
That's a hot take. That's a really hot.
He was a locker room problem. Yep. He was not the kind of guy. There were multiple times where he was getting into fights with teammates because he wouldn't run out a fly ball. He would just sit there and get all pissed off that he didn't hit a home run. And that's all he cares about is hitting home runs. He doesn't care about playing this game. He's not a great fielder. He's digressed as a fielder actually. Most players are progressing. he's just throwing fielding out the window. He's a really bad fielder. And the Phillies, of course, everyone knew that whoever's getting Harper, they're going to have to pay a lot of money because he's not just your average MLB all-star, like, superstar. He's the kind of guy who's going to bring attendance up no matter where he goes. He's going to bring attendance up because he's that guy that everybody knows. He's the kid that the young people that watch MLB, Bryce Harper's my favorite player. I love Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's great because he promotes himself insanely. He's more of a money guy than he is a baseball guy.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference for me between him and Trout. Trout is about, I'm here to play baseball. I could give a shit about a Gatorade contract, a Gatorade endorsement. Bryce Harper's like money, T-Mobile, Gatorade, anything he can get his hands on, he's gonna take that endorsement deal. He's more worried about the money he's making than he is about the game he's playing, in my opinion.
We'll get into that Mike Trout contract later, but I definitely agree with what you're saying. But do you think at least not the World Series, but do you think the Phillies are going to win that division?
The Phillies are most likely going to win that division. I mean, actually,
the Braves
might pull that out because the Braves are a dangerous team. They are a team that you do not want to be playing against. Because if they get hot, they can beat basically any team in this league once they're hot.
They're young and
they're very young,
well managed,
and they still have some nice veterans around the team. You have veterans.
It's a perfect team.
It's a perfect mix of veterans and young players that is gonna explode onto the scene like they did last year.
Okay. So the next free agent signing we'll be talking about is Chris Sale re-signing with the Boston Red Sox. Let me get your thoughts on that.
It's a great regular season signing.
Yeah.
He's more or less like the James Harden of the MLB, in which he burns out after the regular season, and then once he gets to that postseason, after throwing constantly, going his hardest, getting in there in the Cy Young race, he gets to the playoffs and he's throwing. His arm is you could see his arm's weak.
Yeah.
He's not throwing as hard. His breaking balls aren't moving as much. You can see he's having trouble throwing the ball.
Yep.
You can see he's just burnt out because the Red Sox, they just pitch him and pitch him and pitch him, and they keep him going. Every team he's on, they're like, oh, you're the ace. You got to keep going. You got to keep playing. We got to get you up there.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, whatever. Starts throwing, and then everything kind of falls apart. We saw last year in the World Series. And anytime he's in the playoffs, he really can't pitch as well in the playoffs.
Boston had some unexpected players step up in the World Series last year. They had Nathan Eovaldi, Steve Pearce. All these players you didn't expect to have a big role. They had a big role. Joe Kelly stepped up. Everyone in the bullpen stepped up.
The rotation was supposed to be one of the strongest parts of Boston's team.
And the bullpen was supposed to be the
bullpen
weakest.
was supposed to be super weak, and just you could take advantage of that bullpen in the playoffs and in the World Series. And they just said, no, you can't, and we'll just pitch. Amazing. They were pitching better than the rotation.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was supposed to be the weakest part of the team, was the bullpen. And the bullpen came in and just shut everything down.
I mean, when you got players like that stepping up for a team like Boston, who's already good with, without the role players, then if the role players are playing that good, there's no way you're stopping Boston. So Boston was, like I said before, Boston definitely one of the best teams.
Boston is a top 2 team in the MLB right now.
For sure. And now, unfortunately, they're in the Yankees division too. So
unfortunately,
it's gonna be It's gonna be a crazy ride this year. Season starts tomorrow. We'll see what's up this season though. But I think this season, well, they lost Craig Kimbrell too.
They lost Craig Kimbrell, but I mean, still, you can make up for it.
They didn't really add anybody like crazy this year, right? They just kept kind of the same team.
No, they kept the same team together. They kept the same core together.
I would do the same thing, to be honest.
That's what they did. I mean, you have a World Series team. You're not gonna go out there and be like, let's just clear house and let's go bring in some new people. Let's keep this roster and see how long we can compete for with this roster.
So let's talk about the Houston Astros. They lost 2 key starters. They lost Dallas Keuchel and they lost Charlie Morton. So how do you think that's gonna affect them?
That's gonna affect them a lot. But honestly, I think that this year, they are a better team than the Red Sox as of now.
Hot take.
That's because last year we saw Correa was hurt and Altuve were both hurt. They're two of their biggest players, and Bregman stepped up. And you could see now Bregman, he was a young player back when they won the World Series. He wasn't crazy, but everyone knew he had potential. All of a sudden, you have an all-star third baseman, shortstop, second baseman. That infield is set. They're gonna cause some problems. Is if they can stay healthy, unlike last year. I mean, last year, even with them still battling injuries. They gave Boston a run for their money.
Yeah, yep.
They didn't go down easy to Boston.
And talking about
now they're healthy. Oh my god.
And now Alex Bregman just got a 6-year, $100 million deal. Really well deserved. He deserves it.
Of course he deserves it. He played out of his mind last year.
Bregman's an underrated player. I don't think he has attention.
One of the top third baseman in this league now.
Yep.
Speaking on the topic of top third baseman,
Nolan Arenado.
It was what was that?
It was a big deal.
It was a huge contract.
Yeah,
I believe it was
contract. It was around like the $270 million vicinity or something like that.
It was a huge number for a big time player.
Nolan Arenado. Yep.
He's not just your average third baseman. He is amazing hitting the ball. His fielding is just
His arm is crazy.
If you hit it to third base,
his arm is crazy.
You should just walk back to the dugout at that point. If you see Arenado on the other side fielding your ground ball, just walk back to the dugout. Don't get hurt running to first. All right, you're just gonna run there for no reason. His arm is incredible.
He's a 5-tool player. He has everything.
He's a 5-tool player.
He has everything.
He's another 5-tool player. He is amazing in every way. In any aspect of the game, he excels at.
So that was definitely a good move for the Colorado Rockies. They have Charlie Blackmon too, so you expect
Trevor Story
too. You think Rockies are gonna make some noise next year, or is it too early for that?
I think it's a little bit too early.
Yep.
They still need to beef up that rotation for now.
Yeah, that rotation definitely.
John Gray's not bad, but I mean they really need to beef up that rotation, and then once they can do that, I believe they can be a team.
They can be a team to look out for. Yep.
Yeah.
So the next signing we should talk about is Jacob deGrom to the Mets.
I mean, he was already 5-year, $137.5 million.
Great deal for both on both sides of the deal. So let me get your thoughts on the deal.
My biggest thing is I think that he gave them an ultimatum when he was signing the contract. I believe the Mets were going to try and lock him up for a lot longer.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a talent you don't want to miss.
He's arguably the best pitcher in the baseball for sure.
Is probably the best pitcher in the MLB as of right now.
Yep.
I feel like the Mets wanted to lock him down for a while because he's a generational talent. And he walked in there and he said, look, they offered him the money and everything. I said, look, I'm not here to just get paid and just have my teams do terrible. He's like, I'm here to win. So I believe he went in there with the mindset of, I'm giving you 5 years or a little bit less depending on if he's going to ask for a trade. He said, you have 5 years to build a team that can win some games around me. Because, listen, I cannot be throwing my arm out in my prime for a team that isn't going to do anything for me. Last year, there were games where all the Mets needed to do was put one run on the board with DeGrom out there, and they couldn't do it. And it was just so sad to watch because DeGrom is out there putting everything he has, striking out the side like every time. And once they get up to bat, it's like they can't hit. It's just what are you gonna do? You have to do something. Like you can't just sit there and waste this guy's talent on a team that's just miserable right now.
Yep.
They made some moves, but I don't think it's enough. They're going to need more.
Yeah.
And they cleared the farm, too.
Yeah, they made moves, but I still think they're going to finish third in that division, NL East, because the Phillies are in there, the Braves are in there, so I think...
I think that was more evidence that he gave them the ultimatum is clearing the farm, because if they're clearing the farm to get some star players, and I think Jacob deGrom is out there like, I'm not going to wait a couple years for these guys to come up and then have to wait for them to play their rookie year and their second year in the league and then eventually get better. Like he's like, I need players to win now. I am in my prime. Get me players now.
So the Mets traded for Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz from the Mariners, and they gave up a couple. Like you said before, they cleared up their prospect.
They cleared any good prospect they had left. They got rid of basically. There's really nothing left in that Mets farm system.
No, but compared to recent years, the Mets did make moves, but I still don't think the Mets are going to not as of right now. I don't think they're going to be a problem in that National League for right now. So the next and final,
the next big move, Mike Trout, 12-year, $430 million. If I'm right,
$36 million a year. That's calculated.
I believe that's like 350 million Big Macs he can buy with that contract. Now that's a lot of Big Macs. Okay, he might go down as the greatest baseball player to ever play this game. He's a 5-tool player if you've ever seen a 5-tool player. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. He is one of the most power in the league. Like he's like, how do I put this? his power is just almost his power is almost unmatched,
His
except for like
contact, too.
DHs. He's the only people that are able to like match his power are these huge monster home run hitters like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Those
Yeah.
are like the people who match his power, and
Yep.
he's not a huge monster. He's obviously built, but he's not a 6'8", 270-pound guy out there running around. He's like what 6'3", 6'3",
He's like
6'4",
6'3", yeah, 6'3",
6'3",
yeah.
6'4", and he doesn't make errors in the field. Like if you see a Mike Trout error, it's like, whoa,
Rare. It's really
what
rare.
is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening now? You don't see that. It's just like, I mean, when he came into the league as I think like a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
When he came into the league as a 20-year-old, best 20-year-old player of all time. 21, best 21-year-old season of all time. Best 22. I mean, how much further can we get? The lowest he's been in
Yeah.
MVP conversation since he's entered the league is 4, and that was disgraceful what they did to him. Hanley Ramirez, number 3. I mean, Aaron Judge now 2 of 8, 1 and 2. Obviously, they made the most noise, but
Yeah.
Mike Trout over Hanley Ramirez. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's always in the MVP race. He's never out of it.
Listen, he's been the best player in baseball for many years now. He definitely deserved that contract, but that's not the point. The point is, can the Angels get the pieces around him to make a playoff push? More importantly, a championship.
They've put some tools, they put some weapons around him, but I mean, it's not enough yet. They need to keep it going. They have Albert Pujols, great veteran to have on the team, can still hit some home runs
Veteran
every now and then.
presence.
He's not gonna back down from big moments. He's not a guy who's gonna get up there and get nervous and get shaky. He's used to this now.
Yeah.
He's not someone like that.
Shohei Ohtani too.
Shohei Ohtani, great. We
Great.
just have to see how he plays in the field today after that Tommy John surgery,
Yep.
which was disappointing to say the least.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see the full extent of his rookie season. But, I mean, hitting-wise, I mean, he's something we've almost never seen before as a legitimate hitter. Like, we've seen pitchers who can hit, but we haven't seen, like, a legitimate hitter that can still pitch, like a 96-mile-per-hour
Yeah.
fastball. He's
one-
coming out there, he's throwing 96-mile-per-hour fastballs, and then he's going up to bat, and he's hitting 400 feet home runs.
He's
like,
filthy. He's filthy.
you're looking at him, and you're just saying, what am I watching right now? Is this some kind of, like... Is this a robot am I watching? Like
He didn't
he's
want to.
throwing 96 mile per hour. He's throwing breaking balls that move good, and he goes up and he hits.
He didn't want to play for a big market team, so unfortunately he went to the Angels. I'm a Yankees fan. If you guys didn't know, I actually.
It would have been lovely to see him.
If
on the
he was on the,
Yankees.
if he was on the Yankees, man, World
They
Series.
needed help in the rotation too. I mean, but
We had the money we had international money for him too.
Yeah, we
Like,
had all the money in the world to
everything.
sign him.
We had all the resources to land him, but he didn't want to play for a big market team, so he went to the
Fine.
Angels. So I mean, we'll see what happens with the Los Angeles Angels.
but
man.
I mean we also can't forget Andrelton Simmons.
and yeah, he's on the come up.
He
Great defensive player.
is an amazing defensive player.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
somebody who's going to play that field well, and his hitting has been getting better
Yeah, he's
every
improving, he's
season. So
improving.
he's improving, and maybe one day he could be the second-hand man to Trout.
Yep. for
He
sure.
can be that guy that's like it's always like you always gotta have like two players like Mookie Betts, JD Martinez right there.
Yeah.
You gotta have Altuve, Correa.
Yep.
Like boom, like there's always gotta be these two guys who are just like
Yeah. For
they're
sure.
they're like levels above anybody like us
Anybody
in the
else.
league.
Yeah, yeah.
And Darrelton Simmons right now his fielding is
He has a
above.
talent. He has a potential for
He
sure.
has the potential and the
Yep.
talent. He just needs to work on that bat.
Yep.
He needs to work on that bat. He
Yeah,
needs to get in that
so-
batting cage.
I mean, we'll see what happens with the Angels in the future, man. But as of right now, who do you have? Let me get your World Series predictions for right now. Early World Series predictions, because season starts tomorrow. Early World Series, but let me hear it.
Early World Series predictions. My World Series prediction. I think it's going to be Houston playing. I think the Dodgers are going to make it again, and I think the Dodgers just aren't going to do good.
I think this year, I think the Yankees have two good. The Yankees definitely have one of the best bullpens I've ever seen in my life. They got Troy Tulowitzki. They got DJ LeMahieu. They made acquisitions.
They made nice acquisitions to complement the rest of the team.
Yep.
But my thing is, if they can get hot, they're World Series champs. If they can get hot in September and October, they're World Series champs. It's
Listen.
not even a question. But
yeah, for sure.
But right now, the Astros look like the more consistent and more
Yeah.
well-built-up team.
Listen, Yankees could have last year. The Yankees could have won that series against the Red Sox if they knew how to hit with runners in scoring position. Like they had so many opportunities to kick runners
So many runs left on the base.
board. Yeah,
You
I know.
can't-
Like
you
it's,
can't leave that.
in the
you
playoff
swept
series.
too
You
much.
can't do that. So hopefully
And
things
the
change up.
Yankees beefed up the bullpen too with another
Yep.
free agent signing for James Paxton, who
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the starting
my
rotation.
Lord.
Yeah.
He's the second pitcher on that team.
So when Luis Severino is healthy, it's Luis Severino, James Paxton, Masahiro Tanaka, CC, and J-Happ. No, J-Happ then CC.
Yeah.
So Yankees
you have
a solid
two
rotation.
aces in your first two.
Yep.
So that's gonna really help them in the postseason when if one of them isn't performing, the other one can pick it up.
Tanaka kicks up in the postseason
Tanaka
too.
picks up. Tanaka isn't more of a. He's not more of a strikeout pitcher. He's not gonna get you these strikeouts. He's gonna put the ball. He's gonna let them put the ball in play.
Yep.
And it's always gonna be up to that defense. And they beefed up the defense too with two really good defensive acquisitions in LeMahieu and Tulowitzki, who are two good defensive players.
Yep. So Yankees made some moves, and we'll see what happens when the season starts tomorrow. Can't wait. It's been a long off season, a great off season, big free agents.
It was big, and it was big, and it was exciting.
It was exciting.
Every day you're waking up like, is Machado gonna sign? Yeah. It was like months and months of waiting. Like, where's he going? Where's he going? Then teams would pop up like every now and then. You'd hear White Sox, you'd hear Phillies, L.A. Dodgers, New York, and you're like, where's he going?
Yep. All
Padres.
These rumors.
It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
So let's see if these players have a big impact on their team. So